Hello and welcome to Illo Talk Day 92 of 100 Days of Animation, where I spend a minimum of 30 minutes every day learning to animate and working on my short film. And yesterday I finished up a little bit of an animatic. I'm still working on that a little bit more. I didn't get anything that's worth showing at this point. But I also took a break to finish up something that I drew, and I thought I would show you guys some of that stuff. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is me drawing that thing, but before I go too much further on that, I thought I would show you my process. I thought that might be an interesting thing. So here's my process of doing an illustration to the inks. And then I will color this at some point in time next week. So here's how we're going to run this today. First, I'm going to show you guys a time lapse, about 20 seconds of me drawing this, or inking it, which the texture portion, which is what I'll be showing you today, took about 48 minutes. Is that right? 30 or 40 minutes, something like that. Anyway, I'll show that to you in 20 seconds, and then I'll come back and I will talk about my process for 10 or 20 seconds and some of my influences. And then I'm just going to put on some music and I'm going to let it roll in real time. So you will see that that is going in real time. Now, it will look like during certain parts that it is sped up, but it is not sped up at that point in time. And so I'm just moving my hand really quickly because I'm doing kind of a scribbling technique to get kind of that rough, lizardy, slimy, scaly texture. But first, intro music. So that's the drawing. First I'm going to show you my influences. And so this book, which is awesome, is called the Giant Sized Kung Fu Bible Stories. It actually has nothing to do with the Bible. But you've got a ton of people in here. You've got Bruce Timm, Adam Warren, Arthur Adams, Tom Scully, Ryan Otley, Eric Larson, Andy Kuhn, lots of people, right? And I actually bought this from Otley at a convention. Ryan Otley is awesome. Love his stuff. And I will show you some other stuff in a minute, but I have on my back wall here, I have a number of original pages that I have purchased over the years. And I look at those a lot to try to figure out different ways that people are doing things with ink. I find it fascinating that you can do grayscale and texture and stuff. I will talk about that at some other time because it's so interesting. Anyway, no time right now, but it is very interesting. So anyway, I look at how they're doing that. But one of the main things in this is Arthur Adams, Art Adams, right? He's got two different images. So here's one. Kind of a space girl riding a monster or whatever. But if you look really closely, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I'll show you if you can't. If you look really closely, you can see on that monster, it's all black and white, right? So that we only have the one color, and yet we're able to get different textures. And then in those textures, you can see that on the, let's see if I can point to it, on the leg here, that there are highlights and shadows along the ridges of those muscles. And the way that he's actually done that is by having some of those scales filled in and some of them with tiny little lines and some of them with no lines and some of them with half tiny little lines and half no lines. And if you look really closely, which I've studied this image kind of a lot, you can just see how he's doing different things. And then the rocks and the sky, which I actually don't really like the sky very much. But the rocks and the smoke at the bottom and everything, I've studied this image quite a bit. The other one that jumped out at me, another Adams post, was kind of this Ursula Sea Witch deal. But look closely again at how he is handling the different textures, right? And so we've got squiggly lines, tiny squiggly lines, and we've got big thick blocks of black and whatnot. And so a lot of this really has gone into influence my inking. Just these two images. There's a third one here. I'll show you part of it if I can find it. Yeah. So look at the bottom of this one. You can see, again, scales and textures, but look at the skeleton, look at the sand, look at the crab's legs and everything. And you're seeing just different textures and, come on, focus. Focus, camera, it'll be fun. There we go. So he's just controlling the amount of black and white and everything. And so, so what I got out of that is I got that it's a pretty basic concept. In any area, call it a square inch or whatever, if there is more black in that area, it looks darker. If there's less black in that area, it looks lighter. And so you get that with typography a lot, right? And with typography, you get, you can have the same font size, and if those letters are, say, a thick slab serif versus, say, a thin sans serif, then the thick slab serif looks darker, even though they're both exactly the same color and exactly the same value. There is more black per square inch when those things are thicker. So thicker lines look darker than thinner lines. And then lots of tiny little lines, increases the ratio of black to white. And so it increases the value contrast against that, and you get that kind of, you're able to control grays. And so throughout this video, what you're actually seeing me do is I am trying to, and I'm not anywhere near Art Adams or any of those guys, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put more black lines and more black in the areas that I want to be darker, and then more white in the areas that I would like to be lighter, right? And so you can see that I'm starting to texture. I'm going for a light source that's in the upper left-hand corner. And so I'm looking at the forms and I'm trying to throw shadows down that way. In any case, let me show you, I'm going to pause this video real quick and come back. Let me show you what my process is. So my process starts with my sketchbook, right? And so I had this idea of doing, and this is actually when Carrie Fisher passed away, and I thought it'd be super cool to do like a piece. And so this is actually when I sketched the original thing. I was looking for reference photos, and I wanted to get like a real strain. I'll show you, actually, there's another influence that I've got over here. Where is it? Right here. And I'm going to butcher this dude's name, but this is an anime version or a manga version of Star Wars. And so you can see Star Wars, right? And so it does all that. But on the cover of this one, that image has always stuck out to me because that is way more dynamic than the actual movie. And so just the action, that was a huge influence on this. And so that's always stuck in my mind, how cool that is, right? She's choking him from the front. But I looked at the reference of and this guy's name is Shinichi Hiramoto. And so anyway, that was a big influence in this drawing. I wanted to show you that. So I started looking for reference, and I began kind of looking into different things, and I sketched out these two poses. And these two poses were actually somebody hanging upside down from a rope. And I kind of manipulated it and changed some bits to get kind of that. And so that was the basic thing. And then I took that into the computer. And so I took a photo of that and I put it in Photoshop, and then I did a digital sketch. So here's my digital sketch. I did it in black, and it's just super fast. And what I was mainly doing with this, you'll notice that the pose is the same, is I was working in the clothing, and then I was working in kind of where Jabba would be, and I was trying to get like a basic composition. Once I had a basic composition, and I do this digitally because you can kind of like lasso things and then move them around and reshrink them and whatever. Once I had a basic composition, I printed out what I call blue line, right? I'm not the only one that calls it blue line, but basically it's just super light, right? So it's just a super light blue that I'll take out in post. And then once I printed that out, and I printed a number of those out just in case I messed it up, then I started inking it. And I will let that roll, but you can see here that I basically just had the textures in mind. So I used elephant skin as one concept. And so I was looking at kind of how elephant skin worked, and I had that taped to my desk. And then I had Carrie Fisher over here in her costume. And I won't show you this one, but I had an obese person here so that I could kind of reference that, and then Jabba and whatnot. And so I kind of did all that, and that is how I got to it. So now I'm going to let this roll, and you guys can watch this process for the rest. But I'm going to sign out now, and so you can always catch my stuff at corykerr.com, including this will be up. It's not up right now because I'm not done, but I'm going to do some posters and some color this and whatnot. That'll be on my site at corykerr.com. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram, where I have just the speed video of this up as well. And all of those links are in the description, and we will catch you guys later. Enjoy this, and remember that this is not sped up. So this is real time. This is how long it took me to do the texture.